Ever since he came into our lives, he became one of the family. But now he's gone. With Fond Recollections memorial plaques and website, we can upload all our photos and videos of him. Visit fondrecollection.com today and cherish the happy memories of your loved ones.
Chapter 18. Not again. It was the first Monday of September. Most of the staff at St. Mark's Baptist Hospital was off celebrating Labor Day. However, as always, a portion of the staff remained behind, especially the medical personnel that works in the intensive care units. All seemed well throughout the hospital. The familiar sights and sounds blended into the hallways. The doctors working rushed to and from patient to patient, usually accompanied by a team of harried residents and orderlies struggling to keep up. In the burn intensive care unit, BICU, a nurse had just dimmed the lights of the unit, so the only patient there that night could get some sleep. Any ordinary person would throw up at the blood and gore that the doctors and nurses who work in the burn unit must deal with every day. This was the most gruesome place in the entire hospital. It was where patients who had suffered from severe burns could be heard screaming in agony. Some had their skin sloughed off, in other cases their bone visible where the fire and corrosive substance had eaten the skin and flesh away. The sights could be gruesome enough, but the smell, oh God. Burned humans do not smell much different than a pig roasting on a spit, and that made the entire scene even more ghastly. The only patient who was in the burn intensive care unit this night was badly disfigured. A gas cylinder blew up in his face as he was trying to cook a meal outside. There was something wrong with the gas connection on his grill. The cylinder had exploded, and the man caught fire. He had major third-degree burns to 90% of his entire body. His limbs, his face, and his torso were severely burnt, and his skin had turned black and blue with the texture of pork cracklings. The fire had eaten away the flesh on his skin, exposing his facial bones. One of his eyeballs was protruding from its socket. It takes a strong stomach to work in the burn unit. The nurse, Diamond Varner, gives the patient a sedative to help with the excruciating pain. Diamond murmurs soothing words as she administers the medicine to put the patient at ease, and draws the privacy curtains around his bedside to spare any onlookers from gawking at him. Diamond Varner was a middle-aged nurse who got her first nursing job in the early 2000s when she was just 21 years old. She was an expert at finding veins to administer IV medications and inserting cannulas in the least painful way possible. She knew how to care for patients, what medications were appropriate to treat which symptoms, and how to offer the best care to patients who were bedridden. Diamond walked back to the nursing station after administering her patient the sedatives and continued adding notes to the patient's chart. Since the BICU only has one patient, the ICU director had only assigned 2 nurses to work in the unit that day. Scotty Allen figured 2 nurses were sufficient to always watch one patient. Diamond was working in tandem with Chanel that day in the BICU. Diamond asked Chanel to make rounds and then added her notes to the patient's chart. Meanwhile, she goes to the medical supply closet to get essential medication that should always be on hand in the unit. The medical supply closet was right outside the unit, so Chanel would not be alone for long. As Diamond walked out of the unit into the hallway, she noticed that only some of the hallway lights were turned on. Weirdly, she noticed the pattern that every other hallway light was illuminated, leaving one hallway completely dark. One hallway was semi-lit, another dark, the other dark. Diamond thought this was strange, but figured there might be something wrong with the electrical lighting. Therefore, she dismissed her worries. Then Diamond recalled that it must be one of the hospital's energy-saving measures as a part of their new initiative to conserve power and reduce the electricity consumption of the facility. It seemed like a clever idea at the time. However, it made the entire night shift staff feel eerie and spooky. When Diamond arrived at the medical supply closet, she thought she could hear someone walking in the distance. She thought it must be one of her orderlies. Diamond ignored it and continued to get supplies she needed. After spending 10 minutes looking for all the medications and equipment, Diamond started walking back towards the BICU with her pockets and portable carts stuffed with essential supplies that were always needed in the burn unit. Unbeknownst to Diamond, while she was in the medical supply closet, a strange person entered the unit through the rear entrance. That stranger saw that Chanel, the nurse present in the unit, was busy writing in the patient's chart. This gave the person an opening to quickly remove the syringe from their pocket. The syringe was inserted into the patient's IV tube. The person injected some clear liquid directly into the IV drip. Just as quickly as the stranger had entered, the person slipped away from the BICU like a phantasm that just appears and disappears. A few seconds later, Diamond enters the BICU armed with all the necessary medical supplies for the unit. Her eye fell on the patient, who contorted his body in weird positions.
Chanel!
Diamond screamed.
Come here! Look! Something's wrong with the patient!
Both of the nurses rushed to his bedside as he continued to contort his body in pain and discomfort. The medical alarm started to blare throughout the unit. The patient's heart rate had slowed down and he was going into cardiac arrest. Diamond quickly used her radio to call Code Blue for immediate assistance to the BICU. A Code Blue hospital announcement means that a patient is experiencing a medical emergency, frequently cardiac or respiratory distress. Chanel and Diamond started administering CPR the best they could on his charred body, but to no avail. By the time the Code Blue team arrived in the unit, it was too late. The burn victim was pronounced dead on the scene. Diamond and Chanel both burst into tears as their only patient's face was covered with a white sheet once the code was called by the lead team member. It was a sad and sorry situation at St. Mark's Baptist Hospital, indeed.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you had fun or picked up anything from this episode, please assist us by hitting the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. You can also comment and share our content. These small things really help our channel and mean a lot to us. Also, special thanks to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the heartbeat of this channel, and we can't thank you enough for being so generous. If you would like to join our Patreon community, please click on the link below. You can contribute as little as $5 per month. You can get all kinds of perks. You can even buy merchandise of your favorite characters at our shop store. Click on the link provided below. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, remember you are cherished by us. So be kind and know that we consider you as family.